Hey guys, it's Laura with LouisianaBeautyBlog and I'm super excited today. What I'm going to show you is my everyday look, and I'm going to kind of put a fall twist on it because, you know, we're getting into fall. It's October. I'm going to do maybe like an auburn or a maroon lip with a maroon smoky eye, and we'll see how it goes. So the first thing that I'm going to do is my eyebrows. Now I always start out with my eyebrows because you want to do them and then you want to carve them out with your concealer. So what I'm going to do is start with my Anastasia Beverly Hills brow crayon in dark brown because I have dark brown hair, so I feel like dark brown brows always look good. So we're going to take this in, we're just going to brush it up, and then we're just going to go on the bottom and do our base line, and this is going to give that arch. And then we're going to go on the top and really define that brow. Now if you mess up, you gotta just, before it sets, and we can always carve this out with concealer later. I'm just going to plop that there and then brush it through. Now that's just going to give you a nice little oomph. Next, what I'm going to do is my eyes. Now I always do my eyes before my foundation because I feel like if anything drops or if I need to start over, it's not going to completely take off my foundation. So we're going to do a fall look. So first off, we're going to prime your eyes. Now I like to prime my eyes, and today I am using the Luscious Angel Eyes eyeshadow primer base in nude, and I have my little finger blender here. It's still wet because I damped it. I'm using my little finger blender here just so you can kind of blend on your eye. So we're going to dab and dab, and then we're just going to blend it. And this is a really good primer. I got it in my BoxyCharm box, and I feel like it just really makes my eyeshadow and my eyeliner and everything just last all day long. Now we're just going to make sure that that's buffed out there. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Let me fix this lighting here. Okay. Next, we're going to set it. Now I know some people like to set their primers, some people don't. I like to set my primers just because I feel like it doesn't give me too harsh of lines. It's easier to blend my eyeshadows. So to set it, what I'm going to use is this Airspun powder in translucent. I love this powder. It smells like baby powder, so you don't get like that overbearing powder smell. And I'm just going to use a light little brush. We're just going to use this big little fluffy brush here just so it fits in the eye. I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to set your eye. So what we're going to do is whenever you're doing eyeshadow, you want to start with a transition shade. You don't want to go straight into a dark maroon or brown or black because that's just going to be really harsh. So we're going to start with a transition shade. And my favorite transition shade is from this Too Faced chocolate bar palette that my friend in college got me. And my color that I use is Almond Truffle. Now Almond Truffle is this one right here. It's in the top corner, and it's just a really pretty color. And it works really well. So I'm going to take this big fluffy brush that I got in my BoxyCharm box. Now I have this quick removal thing, so in case there's any color on it, you can just swirl it around in this little box thing or canister, and it has like this sponge looking thing, and it literally, like, you can see in there where it's removed pieces of makeup that were on eyeshadow brushes, and it just gives it a quick little clean, and then your hand is, or your brush is clean. Now we're just going to pick up some of that Almond Truffle, which is this shade right here, kind of tap it off, and then go into our crease. And that's just going to be a good transition shade. That way whenever you're blending out colors, you can kind of use the Almond Truffle color to blend with it, and it'll be really, really pretty. Let's do. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to move into my Tartelette in Bloom palette, It smells so delicious, and I'm going to use the color. I use this a lot. If you couldn't tell, I'm about to hit pan on a few of them, especially Rebel, which is that's our darker shade we're going to use later. I'm going to start out with Sweetheart. Now Sweetheart's like a really pretty maroony pink color. I'm just going to go in and build that color that we started with Almond Truffle, and you can see how it's starting to build here. Super pretty, right? And my light is a little too bright here. Perfect. You can see how it's starting to build up. Now as you're building up, I'm going to go with the darker colors too. So we're going to move from Sweetheart to Rebel. You're just going to lightly, you want to always hold your brush on the end very lightly so that you don't have too hard of a line. You want to go in circular motions just to give that really good blending out. Now you can see how all of the colors have it blended together. Now, we're going to add some shine. So I'm going to take my Nightingale Pretty Vulgar eyeshadow palette. I also got this in my BoxyCharm. I love BoxyCharm. And we're going to use the shade Clutch as our lid shade. But before we do that, we're just going to take a little bit of this primer. I'm just going to put it on our hand right there. And we're going to prime the spot we're going to put that, because that's just going to make it pop. It's not going to blend with all the other shades, and it's just going to make it pop. So we're going to take this and we're just going to put it right where that color is going to go. And it's just going to be similar to a cut crease, but we're going to buff it out. Okay, so that gives it a good base for where you're going to put that color on. And then we're just going to take a little flat brush. We're going to tap that color on. Now we're just going to clean this little brush real quick. Do a little swirly. Okay, now we're going to take the shade Clutch. And it's a pretty, it has kind of shimmer and tap it on right where we primed. I'm just going to give it a nice little shine. Right there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that Tartelette In Bloom palette. And I'm going to take my buffing brush, which is this little one here, so I can buff it out. I'm going to take Leader. Now Leader is the darkest one that I'm going to use today. That's it for this eye. Now what I'm going to do is take some liner. I'm going to use my Maybelline Ultra Liner. It's waterproof, and just do a very thin line just to kind of give my eye some definition. And we're just going to take it and on the top of my lid. You can never make cute faces when doing eyeliner. Now that's just going to give my eye a little bit of pop. Now also what I'm going to do is actually underneath my eyelashes, I'm going to use my Urban Decay 24-Hour Glide On Eye Pencil and do that on the waterline underneath my eyelashes, so that way when we put on our mascara, it doesn't have like a little white line from where, and it'll just look better. So I'm just going to take my eye and just put this right here. And that's just going to make everything look better. Ooh, my contact moved. Okay, y'all, listen. So I just got spray tan the other day, and I didn't have a foundation, so I had to mix like 5 different foundations to get my color. So I don't really have a specific foundation that I use today, but we're just going to go with it. So I'm going to take my pre-mixed foundation that I put in this little pot. It's this color. Oh, let's shake it up a little bit because I added a little bit more color. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now I'm just going to take this flat brush that I used earlier. Just put some there. 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 Now I'm going to take my beauty blender. And I'm just going to blend it out. And you want to make sure you go into that hairline. And you can always, if it kind of dries out, spray it with some setting spray. It'll allow you to blend it a little better. What I always do after I blend it out is I take a little bit more and I pop it back on like a dot. And I'll take this big brush here and I just make sure I blend it all together. And then bring it down. And the neck, all the way down on the ears, on the forehead, under the eyes. And just blend, blend, blend. Don't want any lines or anything. Now it's still a little pale on me, so we're definitely going to bronze up. But first, we're going to conceal. And so for concealer, we have the Kat Von D concealer that I love. I'm almost out of the Lock-It concealer. And let me see. I'm just going to take it. Oh, this might be really light on me. This might be pretty light. We'll just blend it out really well. And a little bit on lip, a little bit on the chin. I'm just going to take that little beauty blender and blend, blend, blend. Beautiful. Okay. Now we're going to set that under eye. Now I'm going to take this Airspun powder that I just used and I'm going to bake. Oh, that's a lot of powder. I just put like a lot of it in here. Now we're going to bake under that eye, and I'm just going to take this little flat side and just press it in right under my eye. And this is just going to help it get set and stay and not move. Anytime you use a cream product or a liquid product, I feel like it's really important. Bronzer, which is this bronzer, and it's the Glamour Dolls by Lisa Frank. Bitten and Bronze Matte Bronzer. Y'all, I hit pan the other day. And it's my favorite bronzer. I use it all the time. Definitely gonna have to order more. I got it in one of my Ipsy boxes. And this bronzer, we're just gonna do the same thing. Just kind of go everywhere. Can't go wrong with bronzer. I'm just gonna go, make sure we can go in the temples of our head. So you want to bronze everywhere, and then when we get to contour, you want to go into the hollows of your face just to define it. So I always contour here, here, and then on that double chin cushion. Okay. Now, we've gone to contour. Where's my contour palette? So I use the Lorac Pro Contour. And I do a mix between the light and medium, but if I have a spray tan, I use the mix between the deep and medium, but mainly I always just use medium. I'm going to take this big, large fan brush here because it gives like that perfect depth. So we're just going to kind of dip it into all of them. Kind of like a fishy face. And it just makes a perfect contour. Look at that cheekbone. Like, look at this side compared to this side. Just with that contour on. It just looks sharp. And then once we bake it. Bless you! My mom just sneezed. And then once we bake a little bit more, it's going to look flawless. Kind of just buff that out just so you don't have that harsh line. And now we're going to really carve out that contour. And just, you take it here, boom, boom, and that's just gonna give you like that nice solid contour. Okay, so next what we're going to do is lips. Now I always like to moisturize before I do any kind of lip. I should have done this earlier. And what I'm using is the K-Voss Macaroon Lip Balm. Feels super amazing. Hold on to what color lip? Hey Mom, what color lip do I want to do? Pumpkin spice. I don't have a pumpkin spice. We'll do a maroon. Oh, okay. Now I'm just going to use like a basic nude liner. by Ulta Beauty. And this is just going to give me like the shape to follow. And so, oh, I messed up. You know what? And if you mess up, take a little beauty blender, got a little product, boom. And then I'm going to do the dark purple on the outsides of my lips and then that pink color on the inside. And then, speaking of pumpkin spice, I passed by an insurance place earlier and they're getting way too into this pumpkin spice thing. They were like, get some pumpkin spice insurance. Like, what is pumpkin spice insurance? You know what pumpkin spice insurance is? If you know, please comment and let me know. Because if a pumpkin spice insurance is cheaper than my car insurance I pay now, I'd be willing to sign up. Now we've kind of let that purple color set. And now what we're going to do is I'm just going to take this really light color. We're going to switch it up and go in the middle. Did that work? Yeah, it did. Now we're going to brush off our baking powder. Okay, this is not like real baking powder I used to bake, but it's powder I used to bake my face. Speaking of baking powder, so one time my little sister, she's 8, we sent her to the neighbor's store to get some baking powder because they were making like a cake or some cookies or something. And she knocked on their door and she was like, hey, can I have some baby powder? We're baking a cake. Luckily, the people knew that she was making baking powder. But, you know what? I feel like I need more bronze. I'm not bronzed enough. So we're going to take our Tarteist Pro Glow. And we're going to use the Sculpt. I'm going to add some more color. And we're just going to brush it all over. Highlight. I gotta pick out a highlighter. I'm going to use Fire. So this is in the Tartelette Pro Glow. I'm going to use this one right here, which is Fire. Because yes, girl is on fire. Okay. So we want to have our highlighting brush because you want to highlight when your face is still kind of tacky from the setting spray so that it makes it really bright. This is not... I have too much setting spray. And then we're going to take this Fire here and we're going to put it right there. Can y'all see that? Is it popping? Oh. Oh. And then I'm going to take a smaller brush and highlight the inner corner of my eye. And then we're going to highlight our brow bone. Because those are really important places to highlight. Can y'all see that? Isn't that so poppin'? Okay. Okay. I'm just going to curl our eyelashes. I got this eyelash curler in my Birchbox box. And I love it. And today we're going to use the Benefit Brow. Can you tell my nails match it? It's pink. And I just love this eyeshadow. Why do I call this eyeshadow? And this is my fall everyday look.